On 29 July 2026, Singapore Airlines reported a shock financial loss driven by surging fuel costs, dropping us directly into the high-stakes reality where relying on extreme high-yield products is literally a matter of corporate survival. Today, we're taking a forensic look at the economics of commercial aviation's most exclusive real estate. We're going to explore exactly why a temporary double-digit hour journey in a commercial airliner demands a price tag that completely defies conventional logic, and how airlines use these sky-high sanctuaries to insulate themselves from broader economic volatility. To really wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this premium product, consider this. A standalone one-way ticket between Singapore and London demands roughly $17,300 in cash. And honestly, a standard round-trip package, that can easily scale upward to $20,000 on highly competitive segments. Think about that for a second. That's a price tag that easily exceeds the cost of a brand new economy passenger vehicle. So how does a single flight cost more than a physical, depreciable asset engineered to last a decade? Well, the answer isn't just some arbitrary luxury markup. It's this absolutely fascinating combination of spatial mathematics, aerospace engineering, and strategic ecosystem valuation. Let's strip away all that luxury branding and look at an aircraft cabin for what it really is. Section 1, the spatial math. Yield economics of sky real estate. We really need to view an airplane as a finite, incredibly high-cost piece of commercial real estate that just happens to be moving near the speed of sound. Commercial aviation operates under strict spatial constraints. To survive, airlines have to mathematically optimize what's called their spatial yield. Simply put, that's the revenue generated per unit of cabin floor area. The formula is actually pretty brutal. Yield equals the ticket price multiplied by the load factor divided by the allocated floor area. So when you give a single passenger an enormous footprint, the airline incurs a massive opportunity cost. To claw that revenue back, the ticket price absolutely has to scale proportionally. To see this spatial opportunity cost in action, just consider Singapore Airlines' radical redesign of its Airbus A380 premium cabins. They made this huge choice to move away from their original configuration of 12 suites on the lower deck. Instead, they retrofitted their super jumbos to feature just 6 suites on the forward upper deck in a super spacious 1-1 layout. Basically, Singapore Airlines prioritized absolute luxury, literally halving the seat density to dedicate enormous swaths of the upper deck to a mere 6 travelers. Let's break those numbers down. A standard economy passenger occupies about 5 to 7 square feet. A business class passenger gets about 20 to 30. But a single A380 first class suite, that commands up to 54 square feet of personal floor space. Because that 50+ square feet occupied by a single suite could otherwise hold, say, 10 economy seats, or a highly predictable business class layout generating reliable cash flow, the airline is sacrificing a ton of volume. Therefore, to make this reduction to just 6 suites commercially viable, the entry price literally must mirror a new automobile. Scarcity dictates the premium, plain and simple. Section 2, the hardware. 16G Aerospace Engineering. Now, let's look at the physical footprint and see how this builds into an astronomical capital expenditure that vastly exceeds automotive manufacturing standards. You might assume that a sky-high ticket price is just pure profit margin for the airline, right? Actually, no. The hardware itself represents a staggering upfront investment. Just a standard, high-end commercial business class seat already costs nearly $500,000 per unit to purchase and install when they're ordered in bulk. But the bespoke, heavily customized Singapore suites, they command an even higher capital recovery premium. So why exactly is it so expensive? Well, because this isn't just standard furniture you'd buy at a store. It is highly engineered aerospace equipment. Each suite includes a dedicated Italian leather swivel armchair upholstered by Poltrona Frau and a completely separate stowaway 76-inch flatbed. You've got motorized HD monitors and 10-zone ambient lighting systems. But crucially, all these mechanical and digital systems must comply with incredibly strict aviation safety regulations. Think about the sheer engineering hours required to certify a rotating heavy leather chair on a curved track inside a wide-body fuselage. It has to pass 16G crash testing compliance, flame retardancy tests, and rapid decompression validation. That process alone drives the manufacturing cost of a single microcabin well into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. To amortize these staggering development costs across just 6 units per aircraft, the tickets simply must reflect a massive premium. But in return, what you get is an environment engineered to absolute perfection. It delivers this olfactory and sensory experience that aviation reviewers paradoxically compare straight back to the automotive sector. They often note that stepping into a freshly retrofitted wide-body cabin smells exactly like a brand new luxury car. It's pretty wild. Section 3, the ground frictions, Changi's August 2026 concierge trials. Now, to justify a 5-figure ticket to ultra-wealthy clients, the economic model must remove standard operational frictions long before the passenger ever boards the aircraft. It begins with a dedicated curbside luggage drop-off where staff immediately receive your vehicle. You bypass all the standard lines for a private check-in lounge and a zero-wait immigration channel. Once inside, you access the private room, which is this exclusive lounge within a lounge for fine dining. And finally, through phased concierge trials rolled out in August 2026, you even get a buggy ride and fast-tracked gate escort straight to the aircraft door. The airline has basically built a highly labor-intensive human capital operation directly into the cash fare of the ticket. Interestingly, where the airline chooses not to spend its money is just as revealing. Unlike Gulf competitors like Emirates, who offer complimentary chauffeur-driven limousines, internal assessments at Singapore Airlines concluded that ultra-premium passengers don't actually find significant long-term value in outsourced airport transfers. Instead, they deliberately reinvest those operational funds into superior bespoke lounge ecosystems and the onboard hard product itself. Section 4, Market Positioning, Private Jets on a Discount. So the crucial point here is understanding who exactly is paying this premium and why this ticket is actually a super efficient commercial compromise. When analyzing a $17,300 fare, we have to benchmark it against its true market competitor, which is private jet chartering. For a solo business traveler, a diplomat, or an ultra-high net worth individual, chartering a transoceanic private jet routinely costs anywhere between $85,000 to $110,000 one way. Paying $17,300 for a Singapore suite is essentially buying 90% of the comfort and privacy of a private jet at roughly 15 to 20% of the financial cost. For this target demographic, it is a highly rational, efficient commercial compromise. And by capturing this specific, highly inelastic demographic, the airline creates a massive economic ripple effect. First off, the robust margins of the suites stabilize the carrier's bottom line against things like sudden fuel spikes and joint venture losses. Second, the product serves as a vital strategic brand halo. By pricing cash tickets at the cost of a new car, they establish a massive perceived value for their KrisFlyer loyalty currency. This drives highly profitable credit card spending directly into the airline's balance sheet. Furthermore, they heavily restrict award availability, ensuring that high-value cash-paying flyers are never displaced by mileage redeemers. It's a brilliantly tight ecosystem. Section 5, the flaws, premium hype versus operational reality. But to maintain our objective, forensic analysis here, we absolutely have to look past the marketing halo and address the documented operational realities from premium travel forums. Despite the exorbitant cost, strict spatial constraints, and complex mechanical designs leave some real-world flaws. For instance, the custom 270-degree swivel chair actually lacks a fully flat lounging position, meaning passengers must sit locked in upright, sometimes awkward angles during taxi, takeoff, and dining. There are also documented complaints of wobbly chairs that aren't properly secured and failures with the tablet docking systems. Also, those 5-foot-high sliding doors, they provide great privacy for sure, but they aren't floor-to-ceiling, which allows for frequent, unannounced monitoring by the crew. And notably, there are no onboard showers, unlike Emirates or Etihad, because Singapore Airlines opted to allocate that weight capacity toward expanding the suite dimensions instead. Section 6. The future, fleet modernization and escaping scarcity. Looking ahead, maintaining this high-yield advantage requires constant evolution. The problem is, global supply chain constraints are kind of dictating the timeline right now. The debut of the airline's next-generation first and business class seats on its A350 fleet has been pushed back from Q2 2026 to Q1 2027. On top of that, the delivery of their new Boeing 777-9 aircraft is delayed to 2027 or beyond. With this transition forced back, the airline is heavily relying on its aging 12-and-a-half-year-old A380s while launching those August 2026 Changi ground trials specifically to bridge the service gap and maintain their premium footing. And this leaves us with an incredibly compelling economic paradox. As twin-engine wide-bodies like the Boeing 777-9 eventually replace the massive A380, the narrower fuselage will force a reduction in suite inventory down to just 4 or 6 seats. The physical scarcity is only going to become more extreme. So we really have to ask, as spatial opportunity costs continue to squeeze the commercial real estate of the sky, how high can these ticket prices truly climb before the commercial aviation model breaks entirely, leaving only private jets for the ultra-wealthy? It's a multi-million-dollar question in the world of high-yield economics. Thank you for joining me on this explainer. I hope it gave you a totally new perspective on the true cost of flying at the very front of the plane.